Hello there. After a season of fallout, friction, and fun, we have made it to the final showdown between the cast to wrap up this season before the four-part reunion airs over the next month, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But before we jump in, my name is Nick Zangle. Thank you for being here. We've made it to episode 20 of season 11 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Recap and React on this Thursday. We are back to our normal Thursday, and this finale is titled New Year, Old Grudges in reference to the last dinner of the season, a celebration of Chinese New Year hosted by Crystal. And without further ado, let's jump right into this episode. Oops. Okay. So we start with a montage of the girls at home post Del Mar trip. Dorit is here getting her outfit roasted by her daughter. Then we go to Harry and Lisa looking at a cabin for Harry's quarantine for his role as Tom Brokaw, which is going to be filmed in Canada, leading to Erika meeting up with Crystal at the restaurant where she is hosting everyone for Chinese New Year celebration, where Crystal shares while in Del Mar, her husband and her kids planned a birthday homecoming for her, where Crystal then shares it is the new year and the year of the ox, representing stability, which she believes many people could use. Now, she might be referencing certain people. She didn't name anybody, but we also get a tour of the place that they're going to have the restaurant, and Crystal's plans for the party as Crystal shares red is a good luck color, to which Erika responds as, you know what, I'm probably going to wear red, as much red as I can possibly get at this point because I need all the help I can get. Now we also learn this is the restaurant where the movie Kill Bill filmed a few scenes, as you see here, then followed by Erika opening up about still being mad at Sutton, but she said she can't sit there and just be mad at her all the time. Crystal then shares that she hopes Erika can keep it together because what happens on the New Year day for Chinese New Year represents how your whole year will go. So she wants to make sure that Erika can hold on this time to make sure everything is good. Now we go to Kathy's house, Kathy Hilton, who is showing Sutton around her home build, which she is actually planning to sell this second home. But Sutton arrives and is carried into the house by Kathy's builder, as you see here. And we also learn that this is a brand new build from the ground up, and it's going to be 18,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms on the floor that they think they were standing on, and a price range over $50 million. That's 50 with an M. Following the tour, we get a follow-up on the Del Mar trip between Kathy and Sutton. Sutton shares her confusion with Erika talking to her, and Sutton also promises to be on good behavior at Crystal's party, with Kathy doing her vague reference to someone being there and something, which is kind of funny. But I wanted to say my reaction to this first opening scene was, I agree with Crystal, her take on the year of the ox, meaning stability is needed for a lot of us, probably a lot of us viewers included. And in reference to Kathy Hilton's home, I think it is wild to think that this $50 million custom home is the second home of Kathy and Rick Hilton. And it just gives you an idea of the wealth of a Hilton heir. And Sutton, I think we all probably feel the way she did, which is that we've never felt poorer in our lives, unless you're a billionaire, but probably not. So that's all I have to say for that. And I'll check the chat again later. Hopefully everyone is doing well who is here in the chat. I know haven't been on a Thursday in a while. I've done like Fridays or Sundays, or even last week I did a Monday, which was delayed a little too long, but I'm happy to be back on this Thursday. And if you're not here live, make sure to leave your comments in the main comment section wherever you are able to. So now we are back in town, and we have Dorit, Kyle, Lisa, and Erika, aka Team Don't Piss Off Erika Too Much, is what I call them, going out for dinner, where Erika seems to think this is the group that is not always serious, but is the fun group. Until Kyle asks how everyone is doing, and Erika says that she's doing okay with herself, and she's saying because of this, it's making her not as mad if Sutton or anyone tries to start anything with her at Crystal's party. Kyle also brings up her conversation with Sutton recently, sharing how Sutton still feels the way she did about the car accident story, to which Erika kind of gets mad and is starting to basically try to defend herself to this group again. But she hesitates and pauses to think when she is trying to recount the story that she's been telling the girls on camera this whole season about the accident. And then Dorit kind of steps in to save her as she's paused and kind of trying to think of what she's going to say, followed by more details that apparently haven't been told before, because Kyle in her confessional was like, Erika, I don't remember this part of the story. And then Kyle, after that, calls out Erika's Instagram captions as being problematic in the court of public opinion, to which Erika then laughs it off and admits she feeds the trolls, as Lisa Rinna is sharing her own experience getting into trouble with things she has said. She's gotten into some heat with her QVC line and being political, but also she justifies it, Lisa, by saying even though it caused her some trouble, it felt damn good. Now, this whole part, Erika hesitating, indicates to me she is not telling the truth, or there's something she's being fed or scripted to say. Now, the truth to me is much more easier to tell the first time and every time after that if you actually lived it and you're telling the truth. It's a lot harder to have to cover your tracks and remember this scripted story all the time. I think that's a lot harder and has a higher chance of you slipping up, which I think is what we're seeing here with Erika. Now, Dorit, in my opinion, should not have stepped up to help Erika in this situation by kind of talking for her, filling in the dead space, because it looks like in this scene now Dorit is trying to cover for Erika and don't know if she really wants to be put in that position. In reference to Lisa Rinna sharing her past troubles and it feeling good to kind of get it out there even with the trouble, and Erika kind of agreeing with that, does that mean that Erika isn't sorry and is actually telling the truth through her Instagram posts and feels good about what she's saying on there? I don't know, but let me know in the chat or in the main comment section what you think of that. Now, let's keep going. And now we have Garcelle recounting her date with the kickboxer that she was set up with on a date by the dating coach we've seen on the show in a few episodes this season, as she is getting her hair and makeup done, saying the pictures of him were better and adding she doesn't want to continue seeing the dating coach and is still holding out for Brad Pitt. Okay, so now everyone is getting ready for the final party of the season hosted by Crystal. We got wig names flying around, we got label names, and the like abound. Crystal and Sutton are FaceTiming as they're getting ready, sharing that they seem to be on the other side of their issues. And at the event location, Crystal's mom and boyfriend arrive as Crystal shares how this time reminds her of her late father and grandparents. And now this is a time used for them to come together and honor them. Now, Kathy then arrives first out of all the other girls with Elliot Mintz in tow, who we learn was the guy actually at Dorit's party a few seasons back when everyone else left the table, leading Lisa Rinna to ask Dorit in Hong Kong. They flash back to this, which is that infamous dinner that Erika blew up on Eileen for bringing up her son. But that dinner was also when Lisa asked if they were doing cocaine in the bathroom, and of course Lisa Rinna is the one that shows up next to the party. But then Garcelle arrives and shades Lisa Rinna's outfit in her confessional, but at least didn't lie to her face about saying that it looks good. She basically said, oh, it's just an interesting look. Followed by Kyle and Mauricio arriving, Dorit arriving with PK making a joke about the bathroom incident after seeing Elliot. And then we get Lisa and Garcelle talking on the side, where Garcelle asks Lisa if she would like her to reach out to Denise at some point. Lisa says she will do it when it is time and it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. Garcelle then in her confessional seemed to use this as a test of growth from Lisa Rinna, according to her comments there. And so I want to react to this beginning part of the final scene, which is, as far as Kathy bringing Elliot to the party, I thought it was actually, I don't know if Kathy did that on purpose, but either way, it makes her even better as an addition to the show, in my opinion. And I think it was fun recall of that scene seasons ago that caused quite the stir. Now, on the Lisa and Garcelle front, I thought it was smart of Garcelle to test her in this way, but it might work against Garcelle, similar to her Never Have I Ever incident pointed at Erika last episode, and actually may support the passive-aggressive underlying point of Dorit's against Garcelle. Granted, in real life, you don't have confessionals of your inner thoughts broadcast to millions, including the person that you're talking about. So it's one of those unique things for the show. Now we get to Erika arriving with a similar hairstyle as Kyle as she rips off her mask, as you see here. Then Sutton arrives with a hurt foot still and her boyfriend at her side and says, in reference to the Erika situation as they are in the car on their way, that she is like Tom Petty, she won't back down. Now Erika and Sutton avoid each other before dinner after they both arrive, and everyone is seated at the table where Crystal and her husband, Rob, give a toast to friends not disappearing in hard times and to open hearts in this new year. After the toast, Crystal tells the women they have a little red envelope with them to feed the animal money and things as they come by, and they're the traditional like dragon dancers. And it appears the ones who reacted most scared to the sound of the drums had their backs turned to the action, which it appears Kyle was the most spooked by this surprise and jumped out of her chair, as you see here, and she was freaked out. Now, this beginning part of the dinner, clearly Erika is trying to play mind games with Sutton, and Sutton is sort of falling for it with poking from Kyle and the others. But this will continue to unfold in a moment, so we'll pause our thoughts on that. But speaking of Kyle, I think she slightly overreacted to the sounds and sights of this scene. But I did see others get spooked as well. I think Sutton was next to her, next to Mauricio. And they all got spooked as well, but they were all facing away from the drummers and the dragon dancers. So she was just a few levels higher in the exaggeration scale. She's an actress, so maybe that's part of it. But I just thought it was a funny scene. Everyone seemed to laugh about it, but it was just an interesting part of this. But after this little show went on, Kyle then asks Sutton how her house is coming along, followed by Crystal sharing her about the New Year's traditions for the Chinese New Year of cleaning up your house and yourself, no swearing, and not sweeping your floor of your house on the day of the New Year, leading to Kyle telling Sutton, this doesn't mean, Sutton, that you're not allowed to sweep things under the rug with Erika. And Sutton then takes the bait from Kyle and starts addressing Erika, trying to extend some sort of an olive branch, only to get this stone cold silent reaction from Erika, only followed by, quote unquote, I have nothing to say, upon pressure from the other girls. Now, after Dorit and PK speak up, saying Erika just needs a minute, Sutton in her confessional asks, what do these other girls see in Erika? Followed by PK talking to Erika here about how awkward this was after others get up from the table for dessert, and Erika says she is just not going to sugarcoat anything anymore. Now, in the bathroom, Kyle and Sutton are talking about how confusing Erika's reactions are towards Sutton, considering before she was talking to her at the last trip and now she's not, and this different approach, and how every time they're together it seems a little bit different. Erika is then back at the dessert table talking to Kathy, where Kathy brings her over to Kyle and Sutton and Lisa, where Sutton and Erika finally address each other, saying at some point they will have a one-on-one after Sutton and Erika both concede to needing more time to be able to trust each other with an honest, productive conversation. And then the episode/season wraps up with closing thoughts from all the girls as the traditional season's end still shots with kind of an update on what's been happening with the girls happens, which now in current seasons with reunions being normal, those little blurbs didn't really change anything about the storyline of the season. But we also got a preview about the 4-part reunion coming up, so that will be interesting to see how it all panned out. But clearly, I want to react to this last scene, but clearly Sutton took the bait from Kyle, unlike the Del Mar trip where Sutton didn't really entertain the poking as much. But I think Sutton is right at this point to stop trying so hard with Erika. And it may appear that Erika was being nice the last few weeks to kind of get Sutton to open up more, only to be cold again as kind of this power move towards Sutton from Erika, because I think because Erika probably feels like she's so out of control in her life, she has very little control over it, that Sutton may be one of the few people or things that she can kind of play with it, if you will. And I also think Erika is so hurt by Sutton, and Sutton keeps trying with Erika because they did hit it off so quickly with a lot in common last season when they met. And the beginning of this season, they were still getting along very well through the divorce. So I get why this is something that isn't easy to throw away and also isn't easy to completely resolve. So let me see what everyone is saying in the chat. It looks like everyone is doing okay. I know today was I used to do them all on Thursdays, and then I kind of lost my way a little bit there for a few different reasons, but this last finale episode was here on this Thursday. But if you are listening on the replay, programming notes for the next 4 parts of the reunion. Next week, the first part I will be doing on Thursday, and then the second and third part will be on the Sunday following the part, and then the fourth part will be on a Thursday as well. So we'll bookend Thursdays, and then in the middle we'll do Sundays. So with that said, thank you so much for being here for this finale, last episode of the season for Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 11. And if you've liked this season so far, or maybe you need to go back and check and whatnot, make sure to subscribe so that you get the reunion episodes, live streams, notifications, and if you would like to do even more, turn on post notifications, give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment if you have anything to say, and if you want the link to the live stream early or right away, make sure to check out how to sign up for my free email list down in the description and in the about section of the channel. And with that said, thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.